This one that we've got lined up for you. It's going to be Will Krueger versus Joe Bernal. Joe, again, our defending MVP from last year. This is kind of more of a, I don't know if it's a classic matchup, but this is two of the more pillars of the format currently. So Joe is going to be playing Spirits, and Will is playing the Sultai Traverse deck.
It's really interesting. Sultai has the very wrong side of my deck problem that I think have in any game one. But I do think it has a lot of tools. Having access to lots of Fatal Push, Abrupt Decay, Ishkanah. I think I would take Sultai, but interestingly enough, looking at data from the last couple Pro Tours, Spirits actually was probably winning about 60% of the time.
That's
so
interesting.
I'm not exactly sure why that is, but I think it just speaks to exactly how close each individual game can be. Here we see Jace getting cast, and there's definitely lots of disputes in Joe's deck, and one tags it right away.
Okay. Followed by Spectral Sailor also, so that's pretty good turn. He basically didn't have to take a turn off in order to do that, which is nice for him. So Joe going to go ahead and stick Supreme Phantom and Mausoleum Wanderer, and Will's under the gun. Yeah,
and this is great. Joe has the efficient beatdown end of his deck with, I think, another Supreme Phantom in hand. So this is a situation where Will might only get 2 more turns before he's, facing down lethal.
Okay. Mausoleum Wanderer is also very interesting against, we have been talking about this Languish for a while. You can't cast it on turn 4. Well, you can, but it's going to get countered by Mausoleum Wanderer. So another annoying piece of the puzzle for Joe's deck against these removal heavy decks. All right, so going to go ahead and lead with that Thought Erasure. Joe has options. He's going to go ahead and flip them over. So the Wanderer is a 2/2 due to the Supreme Phantom, but he's going to go ahead and let Will pick. And Will's going to take the other Supreme Phantom. There's a Selfless Spirit as the last card in Joe's hand. Will's land's not quite cooperating with him there, as he has that Fatal Push hanging out in hand, but does not have an additional swamp.
Yeah, it's kind of a desperation part of the game when you're getting rid of Fatal Push against the tribal creature deck. Just the mana is, again, it's functional, but it's not. It's really kind of costing Will a lot here. And taking a turn off impacting the battlefield to cast a discard spell, I think mostly motivated by the desire to find just a second black source. Yeah, and you mentioned the Noxious Grasp that Will does have, so he left that Selfless Spirit in there. Obviously, it's better, gives him more turns because there's not a Lord effect. He also has a removal spell that only has that one target that's in Joe's hand currently. All right, so he's going to actually decide to go ahead and drop this Selfless Spirit down. Pumps the Wanderer. It's a pretty healthy attack. So Will takes a decent-sized chunk. There's a Jace Vryn's Prodigy. That is it's an interesting one here as well. Yeah, it's a card you can cast while also Fatal Pushing.
Yeah.
So while not the land that Will really wanted, it's probably an above-average draw, all things considered, in this position.
Yeah. And he goes after the Mausoleum Wanderer. Card is quite annoying.
Yeah, it's tough. He really doesn't want Joe to sacrifice the Selfless Spirit because then his Noxious Grasp is back to being dead.
Yeah.
But it's kind of impossible to not give Joe that option. Yeah, and lots of factors. Selfless Spirit, extra point of power on board, but Wanderer can catch that up with any Spirit off the top.
Yeah. So Joe lets it go. Okay, so that happens. Here comes this Jace Vryn's Prodigy, it looks like. So that's going to stick.
And not a huge deal, but, good on Will to make sure, put Joe to that test without giving him information about what the rest of your turn is.
Definitely.
It's something that can be overlooked, but I think a real important part of good technical play. And, yeah, it looks like
6 for 5, right?
Yeah, swing for, I think, 6 with
6, okay.
Phantom. And, Joe bricked, but thanks to Spectral Sailor, his turn is capped at getting 1 free card, so not too bad. And here we actually see Will finding another land, which is, critical land 4 and maybe another black source. Too.
Yeah, the Fabled Passage is pretty good. That's pretty good. So you're going to go ahead and bin Uro. Going to flip Jace. I honestly think Will's starting to turn the corner here. We'll see. It's going to be close. It's going to take one more turn. Joe does have 2 draws at another Lord because he has the that Selfless Spirit's going to go down. So he has the Spectral Sailor available to draw a card.
Yeah, and as it is, I suspect Jace is going to plus here. Removal spells aren't really live this turn with the Selfless Spirit being sacrificed.
Right.
But, Joe's going to be 3 points short of lethal, and there's not really any one card, that can make that happen.
Yeah.
So depending on how good the Spectral Sailor draws are, I think it's really going to be the crux of this particular game.
Yeah. So Will lets him draw a card. I think he has Abrupt Decay in hand, actually.
Oh,
he sure
that's
does.
huge, yeah.
Wow. That is humongous. So, yeah, Will's in pretty good shape. And there's a Spell Queller, too, right off the top. That hurts. That certainly does not feel good. So, Spell Queller in hand for Joe. Doesn't attack with Spectral Sailor as it's nerfed by that Jace. Telepath Unbound. And Will's probably going to try and escape this Uro, but it's going to get quelled if he goes for that. Huh.
Yeah, it's tough for Will. Right now he's definitely hanging on by a thread, but
Yeah.
if you give Joe enough time, Spirits can absolutely draw out of it, especially with 2 cards per turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, an interesting thing from Joe, firing off Spell Queller right now is tough because if Will grabs a card like Ishkana, well, Spell Queller dies, but, if Will doesn't have land 5, then you kind of want to hit whatever gets found. So
Yeah. All right. So Joe says, you know what? Let's stop this now. So Spell Queller's the Traverse. Will does look like he has a land in hand. Play it and pass.
Yeah. We actually see the Swamp blocking Escape from Uro.
Yeah.
And, that kind of makes this turn a lot more difficult for Will. Being able to use Traverse as a bait spell, fantastic. Being able to use Traverse, get it quellered, and say go is much more tenuous.
Yeah. So Joe going to go ahead and draw with Spectral Sailor. Hits double land, I believe. So Will down to 2. Will does have he does have that available. There's a Languish off the top. Wow, that's good. All right, so Languish off the top for Will. He's going to go ahead and cast this Traverse. I would assume Ishkana is the play. There's no real reach for Joe's deck as far as fireball effects, so I don't think he needs to go get Scavenging Ooze or anything like that. And goes and gets Ishkana, pluses up that Jace. Spectral Sailor again? Is that what that is? That's not the worst here.
No, it's solid. And, one of the few cards that could start to pull Joe back in, but it's just with Ishkana looming, and I think the only card that he could maybe activate Spectral Sailor, draw Mystical Dispute.
Okay.
It's probably what is the cleanest path out of this for Joe, but then, he's kind of put himself back to almost even, and then, some gas will need to come off the top there.
Yeah.
But I think there's a path.
Okay. So he sends that in. He's going to go ahead and draw a card. He's going to hope to hit. Yeah, that resolves, he says. Okay, so some spiders are made. And Joe's in some trouble. Lots of trouble. Rest in peace, way late to the party. Man, it's just, Joe's been in a series where he's drawn the card he needs, just a turn late both times, whether that so he's now hit this Rest in Peace. He had a Spell Queller previously in the game. Just a little bit behind.
Yeah, super thin margins, and, actually Rest in Peace kind of showing some of the upside for main phasing that Spectral Sailor. And I don't think the Rest in Peace was the card that Joe drew, but it's one of those things where you have that, and Mystical Dispute too.
Ugh. So I was looking at Joe's sideboard too. He has these Deputy Detentions in there, and I wonder if this is a matchup where it comes in, because he could get Will if he has a company into one of those plus another Spirit or something, a Lord effect or something like that, because Will's down to 2.
Yeah, identifying spider tokens as one of the most likely things to beat you, I think, is super reasonable. Each individual one trades pretty close to for a full card of yours. And here we see Spectral Sailor continuing to do work, finding Spell Queller. Okay, starting to come together. I mean, if Will continues to brick.
Yeah. Hey, how much is the activation cost on Ishkana? Is it 7?
7, yeah.
Okay.
So it's available now, and that kind of gives Will the flexibility to play full court press on the defense and still have a way to kind of kill Joe death by 1,000 cuts here.
Okay. You see that? So we saw Ishkana get cast. It has reach of 3/5. Creates the 1/2 spiders that you see hanging out there. And then for 7 mana, target opponent loses 1 life for each spider you control, and Will controls 4 currently. You see Joe just kind of put the pedal to the metal, though, and say, all right, well, you're going to have to beat my Spirits, and he's going to try and pump them up. I mean, Joe has a route to victory this game. As dire as it looked, he's got some stuff going on.
Yeah, it's, age-old Magic question: who would win, a horde of spiders or a 1/1 flying boy?
Wow. Is Joe going to come back and win this game? I feel like he might.
Yeah, Will's missed on 2 draw steps in a row. The board is growing for Joe, and he's about 1 other pump effect away from having kind of good trades 1-for-1 on these ones. Actually, he's kind of already there in that regard. He's going to wait 1 more turn, get an extra Spectral Sailor draw, try and find another creature to add, but...
He might even go for it now, yeah. Going to go for another Sailor activation. Oh. He's got Nebelgast Herald, too.
Oh, yeah, Nebelgast would be...
Wow.
That would be huge if we could find that one. Getting these spiders out of combat with 3 lethal attackers in play.
All right. Yeah, so you see Nebelgast Herald there, flash flying. Whenever it or another spirit enters the battlefield, you get to tap target creature an opponent controls, and that's pretty big. There's a Mausoleum Wanderer. Wow. All right, so we're going to drain Joe for 4, down to 10.
We might be back at the point where Will needs his second sideboard Languish to come back.
I know, man. This is crazy. Fatal Push for the Selfless Spirit. I mean, okay, he's going to sacrifice.
Yeah, it's not bad. That kind of pulls him closer to parity on the battlefield.
Draining for 4. Let's see what Joe does here. There's a Herald hanging out. Activates the Spectral Sailor.
Wow, that second spirit means
is that
2
it?
taps, and I think...
He's got him, I think. So Herald, Nebelgast Herald into Selfless Spirit. Taps 2 down. 2 blockers for 3 creatures. I think that's going to do it with the Supreme Phantom. Yeah, I think he's got him.
Capping a pretty wild comeback there.
So Nebelgast Herald for Joe. Going to tap Ishkana. Selfless Spirit going to tap another one. Joe's got 4 attackers for 2 blockers. And he's got him. Wow. Joe Bernal going to pick up a W. Spectral Sailor.
Yeah, Magic's great. It's
wow.
Kind of what I take away from that game. That was full of swings. Both players had what kind of looked like command leads at various points in times. And, yeah, just really great kind of haymaker-y mid-range Magic. That was the best Spectral Sailor game I have seen, I think, full stop.
Joe has little to no respect for Spectral Sailor. He has 2 of them. He has 4 of everything else. Yeah. Joe, we're going to have a talk with Joe about that.
2's all you need. The first one died. The second one carries the game.
Wow, that was crazy. So, and we watched back and forth. We mentioned Will had some of his big cards like Languish, Ishkana. He had a flipped Jace at one point. He had several removal spells, whether it's Fatal Push or Abrupt Decay. And Joe able to still fight through it just with Spectral Sailor, and that was enough to do it. So
yeah, and the rest in peace was huge there too. Stopping Jace flashbacks. Uro was about to escape the turn after Ishkana. That repeated card advantage got cut. Jace just became a really kind of weak passive aura, and Ishkana solo. Yeah, not quite enough.
Wow, I'm shocked. Honestly, I really thought that Will was going to just run him down in that game, but